Okay, so this video is for those of you that are having a little trouble with section 3.4 and writing the equation of a line, especially when it involves fractions and adding fractions and multiplying fractions. I know it's a pain, so that's why I'm making this extra little video. So, okay, here's example 1. You see the directions say find the equation of the line. Right there, we should stop and remember a formula. Anytime they tell us to write the equation of the line, we know we're going to be using the point-slope formula. And the formula, you're going to have to memorize this for the test. The formula is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1, where m stands for our slope, and x1 and y1 are just some point. These are just some point that they gave us, some point that lies on our line. So that's what those two things stand for. So if I come over here and look at what they gave me, all they gave me is just, they gave me this point and this point. They didn't give me all the information I needed. I do need a point to use my formula, but I also need slope. So I have to stop and say, well, I don't have everything I need to use my formula. And that formula is how I write the equation of the line. So I have to take a step back and say, well, alright, if they gave me 2 points, how in the world can I come up with m? And then I remember from a previous section that, hey, there's a formula for that. And it's m equals y2 minus y1, you're going to have to memorize this for the test too, over x2 minus x1. So I can use my points. So let me go ahead and label them real quick. I have x1 and y1, that's point number 1, and x2 and y2, that's point number 2. And so now I can start plugging into my formula. So my slope for my current line would be y2, so negative 4 minus, now what is y1? Negative 9. I have another negative in there, so keep that in mind. I'm going to have two negatives. x2 minus x1 is on the bottom. Negative 6 minus x1 is 2. Alright. So negative 4 minus a negative 9. Remember, any two negatives make a positive. So negative 4 plus 9 is 5. And negative 6 minus 2 is negative 8. I don't like a negative on the bottom. I like to write it out beside it. So negative 5 over 8. That's my slope. So now I have everything I need to use my formula. I have a slope and I have a point. Well, I got plenty of points. They actually gave me 2. So I'm going to go to another page because I've run out of room. Okay, so the information I had was my points were 2, negative 9, and negative 6, comma, negative 4, and I just found that my slope was negative 5/8. And so now I know I have everything to plug into my formula. And remember, my formula is what enables me to write the equation of the line. That's what helps me build it. Okay, so let's plug in. I have y minus y1. It doesn't matter which point you pick. I like the first one. I just like it. Oops, that's y1. So I'm going to use that one. So it's y minus y1, which is negative 9, equals m, which is negative 5 over 8, times x minus x1, and x1 was 2. Now, let's go ahead and fix my double negative issue here. That's really y plus 9 equals negative 5 over 8 times x minus 2. Now here's where everybody stops and makes a few mistakes. Because the first thing you should do here, usually, if you're not going to get rid of the fraction, is distribute this fraction. So that's going to involve multiplying a fraction times x, which is easy, and then multiplying fraction times a regular number, which is not so easy, and at the end, what we're going to end up doing is taking this 9 and moving it over here with this guy, and then you have a fraction, and then you're subtracting a fraction from a whole number, and that just gets to be kind of a pain. So I have a little trick for you. Just hang on tight, and I'll show you how to do it. Here's what you want to do. I'm going to actually zoom out and make this a little smaller really quick, because I write way too big for this program apparently. Okay, so here's my trick. You see the bottom right there? Guess what we're going to do to it? We are going to scribble it out. I'll show you why we're doing that in a minute. But the trick is, whatever the bottom was, I multiply by it, that number on the other side. Okay? That's the trick. So the left-hand side is now 8y plus 9 times 8 is 72 equals, now keep the negative with the top number in this case, negative 5, the 8 is gone, times x minus 2. Now, the reason this trick works, look, well, by the way, I've gotten rid of the fraction. Do you notice? Oh, look, the problem looks a lot easier to deal with. And the reason this works is because really what you're doing up here with this 8 is you're really multiplying by it up there, but you're multiplying by it just to cancel it out with the bottom, so it doesn't get multiplied everywhere or anything like that. But the other side, if I multiply one side by 8, I have to do the other, and that's why we end up multiplying that left side by 8 as well, okay? Alright, so the directions told me to write this in slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. All they mean is make it look like that. So the key here is to manipulate this thing so that y is by itself on the left-hand side. So that's what I want to do. So first, I'm going to distribute this negative 5. So I have negative 5x. Negative 5 times negative 2 is positive 10. Bring these guys down. And remember, okay, so now I want to try to get the y by itself. So the first thing I need to do is get rid of this 72. So since it's being added, I should subtract from both sides. So I have 8y equals negative 5x, and then positive 10 and negative 72 is a negative 62. And then what do I need to do to get y by itself? Well, I just need to divide by 8 because it's being multiplied by 8. So I have to do that everywhere, just to be fair. So my new equation is y equals negative 5/8. And look at that, my m is exactly where I started. Minus, now I have 62 over 8. The only thing you have to worry about here is if your fraction is completely simplified, and it looks like it's not. I'm not sure what will go into it. I know 2 will, so I can at least divide both of these guys by 2. 2 will go into 62 31 times, and 2 will go into 8 4 times, and that's completely simplified. So there is my new equation in slope-intercept form. Alright, let's do another one. Okay, this one says, find the equation of the line with the given slope and containing the given point. And then it gives us a slope, negative 9/10, and then it gives us a point. First, find the equation of the line. That's our trigger to go ahead and write down our formula. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1, and they call this the point slope formula. Why? Because you need a point and a slope to be able to use it. So let's see if we have everything we need. Do we have a point? Check, we do. We have x1, y1. They did give us a point, so that's the first thing we need. Do we have a slope? Yes, we do. They gave us the slope. That's our m. So let's go ahead and start plugging into our formula. So we have y minus y1 equals m, which was negative 9 over 10, x minus x1 was negative 6. So remember, there's a minus in the formula and there's a minus on the 6, so there's 2 of them, okay? Alright, so let's start simplifying. I like to take care of my double negatives before I do anything else, so that's the first thing I'm going to do. Y minus 0 equals negative 9/10. Make that x plus 6, because it's easier to read. Now, let's take a look at that left-hand side. What is y minus 0? Well, if I take away nothing from something, it's just left with just y. If I've got 5 apples and I take away 0 apples, how many do I have? 0. I don't have 0, I have 5. Oh, Lord. Alright. So, again, this problem wouldn't be that hard just to leave the fraction in there, but the whole point of making this video was to teach you guys how to get rid of that fraction in the slope. So technically, remember what we're doing is we're pretending like we're going to multiply by 10, but the reason we're doing it is to cancel this bottom 10 out. But to be fair, whatever I do to the right hand side, I've got to do on the left hand side too. So I come over here and multiply that by 10 as well. So now I have 10y equals negative 9 times x plus 6. And that looks a little bit easier to deal with. I can distribute that negative 9 through there. So I have negative 9x minus 54 on the right hand side, and on the left I still have that 10y. And if I want to write it in slope-intercept form, all that means is get y by itself on the left. So I should divide by 10 everywhere. And there we have it. Here, I'm going to make that a little smaller because I write so big. Okay, so I have y equals negative 9 over 10x. See, I've got my slope. My slope works. Minus, now 54 over 10 needs to be simplified again. And again, they both just happen to be divisible by 2. So 2 will go into 54 how many times? 2 will go, let's see, 2 will go into 50 25 times, so 26, 27 times. Y'all can use a calculator for that. 10 divided by 2 is 5. So there's my answer in slope-intercept form. No biggie, no fraction. And that one was pretty easy. Let's go back and do another hard one. Okay, so this one says, example 3, write the equation of the line. Write the equation in slope-intercept form, and then it gives us 2 points that it wants it to go through. So again, we need to look at these words. Write the equation of the line. That's our cue to come over here and go, hey, that's our formula. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Well, that was kind of sloppy. And remember, this is called point slope. So if I don't have all the necessary materials to use this formula, I have to find them. So I look, do I have a point? Check. I sure do. I have an x1 and a y1, but I also have an x2 and a y2. I have extra information. So I've got these two, but do I have a slope? No, I don't. I gotta find that. So then I think, hey, I have a formula for that, don't I? I have m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So let's plug in and get m so that we can use our formula to write our line. So we have y2 minus y1. So negative 7 minus y1 is negative 10 over x2 minus x1. So x2 is negative 8 minus x1 is 2. So let's work this out. Remember, two negatives make a positive. Negative 7 plus 10 is 3. And negative 8 minus 2 is negative 10. Again, I like the negative to be out front. So now I have my slope. I have m is negative 3/10. And again, I'm going to go ahead and go to another page because, no, I changed my mind. I'm just going to make this smaller. Alright. So I'm going to use my little formula here. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. That's our formula to build a line and start plugging in. So I have y minus y1 was negative 10. Again, you don't have to use that first point if you don't want to, but I want to, so I'm going to. You can use the other one. M is negative 3/10 times x minus x1 was 2. Let me go ahead and fix my pluses here. Y plus 10 equals this stuff. Okay, and here's where I want to kind of take a step back and remember I don't want to have to distribute that fraction. Kind of a pain to work with, so what I'm going to do is pretend like I'm going to multiply by 10 on this side, but I'm not really. I'm just going to scribble the bottom out, and whatever that number was, I'm going to multiply over here everywhere. So now my new equation is 10y plus 100 equals negative 3 times x minus 2. And that's a lot easier to deal with, so I don't have to deal with the fraction. So, to keep on solving, let's distribute that negative 3. So I have negative 3x. Negative 3 times negative 2 is positive 6. Okay, and then take a look back at the directions. It says write the equation in slope-intercept form. So again, I know we talked about this already, but slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b, which basically means get y by itself on the left-hand side. So I need this guy alone. So what I'm going to do then is subtract 100 from both sides first. Dividing is always the last thing you want to do. Just kind of your tip for the day. You don't want to divide first. Okay, so 6 minus 100 is negative 94. Ooh. And then I have to go through and divide by 10 everywhere to get y by itself. If I do it in one place, I have to do it everywhere. So my new equation is y equals negative 3 over 10 x minus, and then again, I've got to simplify this guy. Always check that. So 94 and 10 are both divisible by 2. So 94 over 2, 94 divided by 2, I'm not going to write this down, I don't have room, is 47. And 10 divided by 2 is 5, and that's completely simplified. So there is our line, right here at the bottom, kind of ugly, in slope-intercept form, because I've got my slope back to negative 3/10. See how it matches up with this guy right here? Worked out great. Okay, you guys call me if you need any more help, okay?